Me, 27F, trying to reconnect with my mother, 47F. After 5 years and a messy love triangle. I would like to start off by explaining I have been in therapy for over a year and am looking to move beyond the past. I grew up in a very non-traditional household. My mother was very into the swing scene and generally sex positive. I knew some of this as I got older, but she kept it out of our home. Fast forward to age 20 and I finished college early, and back at home. My mother had a new boyfriend for about a year. First time she had a long-term partner since my father almost 15 years before that. Things got very strange that year. I was very inexperienced sexual. I had only 2 sexually partners and they were both very also young and inexperienced. Mother's boyfriend and I flirted a bunch and made out one time. I felt awful for potentially hurting my mother. I panicked and tearfully told my mother. I was shocked at how causal and normal she was about it. Told me it was just sex and not love, and she had shared men with her friends in the past. This should have been red flags for me. The friends part. Over the next month I started a FWB relationship with her boyfriend while he was still with my mother. He was very skilled and experienced compared to what I was used to, and the sex was awesome, but this all felt so strange and I was constantly guilty. My mother got stranger and stranger with me. He began to treat me a friend instead of her daughter, sharing her sexual past in graphic detail. Talking about her experiences as a hot wife in cuckold stuff with my father, when he was still in the picture, wanting to share notes about the boyfriend. This went on for about 6 months and my mother just got worse. It also became clear to me she had a drinking problem. I broke sexual relationship with the boyfriend, tried to convince my mother she needed help for over a year. She refused to admit she had boundary issues with me and a drinking problem. I moved to another state, and did not talk to her for almost 5 years. I worked my shit out in therapy. I found out through a relative my mother has been sober 8 months. Should I reach out and make connect? Is this a bad idea? She was an amazing mother for 20 years, but those last months were so messed up. Too long didn't read. Mother and I shared a lover. She treated me like a friend and had bad drinking habit. I broke contact for 5 years. Should I reconnect her now that is sober? This is an unusual situation, but I do have some thoughts. It's always difficult for a parent to make the transition from child/parent dynamic to adult/parent dynamic. Some parents handle it better than others. For me personally, my father never acknowledged that I was an adult and my mother overshared to an extent. Your mom just had a lot to share during that overshare. Talk to your therapist. Figure out your own boundaries. Enter the meeting prepared. But don't skip the meeting if you want to see her and she wants to see you. Holy moly, this is beyond Reddit's pay grade. Talk to your therapist. I don't know if this is capable to do in a natural relationship. It sounds like the best bet is to do this with a family therapist, not your therapist. I wouldn't trust 8 months of sobriety fixed your mom's boundaries, and I wouldn't trust that your individual therapy fixed the unhealthy diet between the two of you. Opening that can of worms without a skilled therapist would be way too scary for me. Too easy to subconsciously shift back in patterns or boundary crossing slowly that you can't even see at first. Just because she's sober doesn't mean she's worked through her shit like you have. That being said, you could write her a letter, outlining how you feel about things and leave it up to her to decide if she wants to respond. This is a great question for your therapist. My 24M best friend, 24M, of 12 years is cheating on his girlfriend 23F and I don't know what to do. Hey guys, first of all I just want to say that in any situation I would immediately tell someone if they're being cheated on, but this is more complicated. I've known my best friend since we were kids, neighbors, went to the same school and all that stuff. 8 months ago he started dating this girl. I have no particular opinion on her, don't especially like her or hate her. So recently I found out that he hooked up with a mutual friend, one that he told me he had a crush on about a year ago. So when I found that out I told him, yo, I heard you hooked up with someone. People better be lying bro, because you know how I feel about cheaters and stuff. He went to tell me that his relationship with this girl is actually not that serious and that she's got a guy or two on the side too and that they're just having fun. Now usually I wouldn't believe that because my best friend wouldn't be okay with that kind of stuff. He isn't the type of guy, but I guess I kinda wanted to believe it because I didn't want to think he actually cheated or something. Anyway, for whatever reason I actually believed him. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago. I was hanging out with him and his girl. So he goes to take a phone call in the other room and I jokingly told his girlfriend, "Yo, I bet that's one of his side chicks. Are you really cool with that?" Her reaction was not what I expected from someone who is in that kind of open relationship. She basically said, "If he even thinks about having a side chick, I'd ditch his ass." When she said that, it hit me that he lied to me about it. So later that night after she left, I told him, "Bro, the whole casual relationship stuff that you told me was BS, wasn't it? You're gonna have to tell her or I will." Now it's been like 2 weeks since the whole thing, and he still hasn't told her. I'm not sure if I give him more time or not, just because I feel like if I'm the one that tells her, then there is no chance of their relationship surviving, but if he comes clean to her and apologizes, then it might be fixed. What should I do here? Give him more time or tell her? Too long didn't read. My best friend cheated on his girl. I told him he's gotta come clean or I'll tell her. He told he will. It's been 2 weeks and he still hasn't. Now I'm not sure what I should do. I have a standing rule about cheaters. If I find out, I give you 24 hours to come clean. After that, I will rat you out. Cheating is not okay and I won't help you hide it. My friends know, and especially if you are friends with both. This situation completely depends on your personal values. For me, I would tell her and then get rid of the friend. Cheating is fucked up as is, but then your best friend, of 12 years, lying to you is worse. I dumped my best friend of 19 years because she was a liar. I don't tolerate cheating or lying in my life. Even though the cheating does not directly affect you, it shows your friend's true character. Sounds like he only cares about himself, and I'm sure he will also stab you in the back eventually. Good luck with whatever you choose. I was the girl in this situation with my ex. I considered his best friend a good friend of mine as well, as I dated my ex for 6 years. When I found out my ex had been cheating, the betrayal was infinitely worse because not a single one of his friends respected me enough to tell me. Please tell her. If you were being cheated on, would you want to know? I'm guessing the answer is yes. So you know what you have to do. You should probably also find a new best friend, one with less shitty morals. 1. Tell the GF. 2. Find a better best friend. My 24M girlfriend, 20F, casually brought up a throuple while I already suspected she might have cheated on me. A series of coincidences led me to believe my girlfriend, who I've been in an otherwise loving relationship with for the past year and a half, was cheating on me with a co-worker of hers. This was tormenting all of September, and while we've talked about it since then, something's still weighing on me. We were cuddling one morning on a day we both had off from work, and completely unprompted she said, "I kinda wanna be in a throuple." I've never been comfortable with the idea, and she knows I always wanted to remain strictly monogamous, so when she mentioned that, I didn't know how to respond. It's been a few weeks since then, but the fact she was aware that I'm not on board with the idea and chose to say it anyway still makes me uneasy, not to mention it was coming at a time when I was already convinced she was seeing someone behind my back. I had a major surgery in early August and our sex life was affected since I can't do anything too strenuous, so my first thought was that she wanted to try it just because I hadn't been able to satisfy her physical needs for a couple weeks. I'd been feeling guilty and inadequate for how much my mobility was limited, so when she brought this up, it felt to me like she was trying to gauge my reaction or seek permission to be with someone else. Should I be upset that she knew I wanted a monogamous relationship and she still went ahead saying that? Is she trying to coerce me into being okay with the idea? If I'm not overreacting here, I know I'd probably need to have a conversation with her about it, but how should I approach the subject if I do? Too long didn't read. Thought my girlfriend was cheating, and around the same time she casually mentioned wanting to be in a throuple, despite me wanting both of us to stay exclusive. Is it wrong to be uncomfortable about the fact she asked? I would be upset. It's not a matter of whether you should be or not, the fact is you are. And not for no reason. You have two. One is the fact you made it clear you prefer monogamy, the other is you had surgery that put you out of action for only 2 weeks, leaving you feeling vulnerable. It's not very supportive of her at this time to ask such a thing. It is thoughtless. However, without knowing her, this may not have been deliberate. She is quite young. Think you can approach it by letting her know how it made you feel, and you were concerned she was asking permission as you have put in your post, and reiterate your preference for monogamy. The truth, but in a discussion, not an argument. Ask if she has anyone in mind. If it's the co-worker, your relationship might be dead. If it's not, might as well talk a little bit more about what she likes about the idea. I had a major surgery in early August and our sex life was affected, and I hadn't been able to satisfy her physical needs for a couple weeks. If she can't put her physical needs on hold like an adult, then I would drop her now. I can't even imagine seeking anyone else, thinking about someone else, etc. While my partner was feeling down, ill, or whatever, let alone recovering from a major medical procedure. Don't know her, but all I see when I read your post is selfish b. My experience has been the moment someone seriously asks about fucking someone else, especially knowing full well that's not something you're into, the relationship is over. Having been down this road before, in your shoes I would be working up an exit strategy. Next time she asks you, say something like with your coworker. See her reaction. If you feel like she's cheating and you have evidence, you shouldn't be afraid to speak your mind. If your partner is making you think, of course with evidence and signals being sent, that she's cheating on you, she failed as a partner. Also, if I may ask, what did she do to make you think that she's cheating? About the throuple, no one asks for an open relationship or throuple without having someone in mind. So I think it's fair to be upset, and this should have increased your reasoning on her cheating. Confront her and update us on what you decide to do. Internet hug. One thing, I accidentally came across a message he sent her about how he can't live without her. That prompted me to look closer, and I found some more incriminating stuff that she says was all a joke. But one of the messages was, we can run away together whenever you're ready, so I'm not really sure about that. Someone accused my girlfriend of sleeping with her ex back in September, and when I showed her the message, she immediately started acting more secretive, going out of her way to hide her screen while she was messaging and changing her lock screen pattern, for example. I don't know who she was thinking of specifically, but at the time it was taking everything I had to not have a panic attack in front of her. This isn't the first relationship I've been in where the other person suggested going poly, but I will talk to her about it as soon as I have a chance.